Good afternoon, everybody. This is Bill here at WWK Scale Plastic Models, and I thought I'd bring you the third video here, and I think it's going to be four total of the Panzer IV tank by Monogram in 1/32 scale. This video here, I pretty much got it everything ready for paint. I've got it all primered up, and got a few more little pieces to do, but I'll show them to you. So let's go ahead and get started. We'll go ahead and we'll jump right here to the hull, lower in the upper hull. I'm going to move that box out of the way. So here it is right here, guys. All primered. This is the upper and lower hull. She's coming along really well. It's looking really good. Primer, I mean, I'm not seeing any bad spots or anything in it, so I think she's ready for paint. Yep, the primer went on real well. What I used was Vallejo's surface primer. This stuff right here, in gray. It's a pretty good primer. You can spray it right out of the bottle. The only thing about this stuff here is seems like it dries pretty quick. So, you know, when you're spraying with an airbrush, you know, you get that first little load of the primer in your airbrush and you spray with it. It's best to, once that pretty much empties out, to go ahead and clean again. Maybe, you know, throw some airbrush cleaner down through there and run it through 1 or 2 times. And maybe wipe the needle tip off and then go again. And that's usually it. So I primed all the pieces and everything, the hull and the turret and the side skirts and everything. You know, I did it pretty much. I didn't use a whole lot of this surface primer, and it went on really well. I know a lot of people use Styrene. I haven't used it. I don't have any, but I think I'm going to get some because I've heard some good stuff about it, especially from you guys on YouTube. So I may have to get some of that tried out. But that was a primer I used right there. And here's the side skirts. There's 2 of them. They turned out pretty nice. Get this over here. But yeah, they turned out pretty good. That's where I attached it when I had to spray it, but that's no big deal. That's going to cover into, and that's the back side of it anyway. You don't see it. So I got 2 of them skirts. They primered up. Here's the main gun on this, guys. And the gun, this was the 75 millimeter. I know on the Panzer, that K40. So I got it all primered up, ready to roll. I think it shot, I don't know, it started with like a 43 caliber, and at the end it went up to like 48 or 49 caliber. I know that it used that big old that Panzer 39 shell, the ammunition, and that would put a hole in something, let me tell you. And then here's, well, let me get that in the holder there. Here's the turret section. She's all put together. As you can see, she got them skirts on the side of the turret. Had extra armor and plates. Turned out really nice. So, yep, everything went on good as far as the primer, guys. Everything worked out really well. Then I had some of the separate pieces. Like I've got 2 of the sprockets here. Here's one of the sprockets. It got them primered up. They turned out really good. I'm going to do them in a steel color and weather them up a little bit. Then the idler wheels was pretty much the same thing. Had 2 of the idler wheels naturally. There they are. So them are all primered up. And then I had some extra parts here, guys. Had 4 of the fuel tank, or I'm sorry, 4 of the gas cans. Got them all primered up. Turned out pretty good. So that was the gas cans. Then had a couple of, actually got two more pieces of track. This one a little bit longer and a shorter piece that just attaches. They were extra pieces if they break down, you know, out in the field, and they had the extra track because these Panzers, I mean, out in the field, they used to upgrade them out in the field. They'd repaint the schemes on them. They added the extra armor out in the field. I mean, they pretty much did everything, you know. When it come to them from the factory, when they were out in the field for all them years, they do what they had to do to them. That was a helmet I just showed you right there, guys. There's two of them. Those are going to be attached on the tank somewhere. One to be for the commander, and the other one to be for the guy that's seated. So, and then here's the tracks, and I haven't done nothing to them yet. I put them together with super glue. They went together pretty easy. They were kind of a pain to clean, but they cleaned. And I can say this about this kit, guys. Once you cleaned it up and you got her all ready to primer it, it went together. I mean, went together easy. Went together nice. Was no major problems or anything. Super glue I use when I put that together. This is the stuff I like right here. This Loctite, if I can get it to focus in. Loctite super glue, professional liquid. This stuff's not cheap. I don't know, it's like $6 for this right here. So, but it's well worth it. It's good stuff. And naturally, the glue I used when I put it together was this, the Tamiya Extra Thin. You know, and then I had a few thick glues when I need something a little bit thicker. But this put most of the model together right here. Because it fills in good. You got them little creases somewhere. It fills in real good, guys. And, you know, it'll just flow, and it flows in there, and it smooths itself out, levels itself out. And when you put the primer on there, you can't even tell. So, I mean, it really works well. Then another couple of pieces here. Here's the tank commander. There's the tank commander. And there's the guy that sits. Them's been cleaned up. They're ready for primer. But as far as primer in these, I think I'm going to use the Tamiya primer, the surface primer. I'm going to brush it on. This stuff works well when you brush it on. So, them parts I still need to prime, this is what's going to prime them right here. It brushes on, levels itself out, works really well. That's pretty much, I think, all the parts for it that I've primered. Now my paint scheme on this, the paint scheme, I think I'm going to go with a dark yellow. It's going to be the base coat. And then to finish out the camo theme on it, it's going to be the olive green and a red brown. But to get my dark yellow, I'm going to do it with these two here. These Model Airs. Naturally, they'll be mixed together. That's a medium yellow, and this is a sand yellow. And I've tried it, and it gets it awful close to the real color. So this is what I'm going to use right there. Mix them together. And then the camo extra color is going to go in there naturally. Got the Model Air here. This is the olive green. I'll be using that. So, and then for the red brown, this is a surface primer. It's red brown. I may use this. I don't know. I haven't made up my mind yet. Or I'm going to use these two colors mixed. This is Hull Red, which is really dark. And then I got red RLM. I might have to use a lighter color to lighten it up just a little bit, but I don't know. I'll figure it out, but I think that's the way I'm going to go. So, and I've kind of tried it, and it gets it pretty close to a red-brown. So, I do have to say this about these Model Air colors, guys. It's really a good paint. You know, you're supposed to be able to just shoot this right out of the air gun, but like Brett said over at Brett G, I don't know if you know about his channel, but I got to agree with him on this. These are all, you know, you might get 3 or 4 of them that you can shoot straight out, and then you'll get a little bottle of it, and you got to do some thinning on it. because they can be a little bit different. Where, you know, I haven't had that problem using Master. I haven't had that problem at all. I usually take it right out of the little jar and spray it. So, but I mean, this stuff here, this stuff really goes down nice too, even with a paintbrush. So, but other than that, that's my only complaint there. They're not consistent through the line. And when I do thin them out, guys, I'll use a little bit of the airbrush thinner by Vallejo. Okay, this stuff dries fast though. So then you got a little bit of a thinner medium here. I'll use this if I don't want it to dry so fast. And then I also have the retarder medium right here. This stuff works good too, but you got to be real careful with this. I mean, one little drop, you put too much of this on there and it can mess it up. So you got to be careful when you use them. That's the paint scheme for it, guys. So I'm going to have that dark yellow for the base coat, and then the olive green and the red brown to finish out the camel pattern. What I'll do is I'll spray all the parts that you see primed here. I'll get them all with that dark yellow, and then I'll probably gloss coat it. Well, no, I'll get all in with the dark yellow, and then I'll go ahead and I might gloss coat it, I don't know yet, so I can come in and do some weathering, some light weathering inside here to get some shadows and stuff like that. Haven't made up my mind how I'm going to do that yet, but I'll get it done. And then naturally, you know, I'll have to attach them side skirts and stuff in the gun, and then I'll go with the rest of the camouflage pattern using that red brown and using that olive green, so, and get her camouflaged out the rest of the way, and finish them tracks. And the two personnel that came with it, the commander and the guy that sits out there on one of the fenders. But I get them all done and painted. When I weathered, I think I'm gonna do some light weathering on this, guys. I'm not gonna go real heavy on the weathering because I don't want to. I'll use this black, the Vallejo Model Wash, some of the black, and I might use some of this brown in certain places. But that's two of the washes I know that I'll end up using. And another thing too, guys, when I want to bring it back to a flat coat there at the end and stuff like that, you know, I'll probably use this matte varnish right here by Vallejo. But at the same time, I know a guy that here close to where I live, and he's a real good model builder. He's not on YouTube or nothing, but he turned me on to this, and I haven't used it yet, okay? This Liquitex Basics, the matte varnish. I know that they, you know, I've got their Flow Aid, and I can't remember what the other one's called. Anyway, and they work really well with just about all acrylic type paints. But this right here is pretty much the same consistency as this, okay? And this matte varnish now, this little old bottle, you know, at Hobby Lobby, places like this, it's like between $4 and $5, okay? And, you know, you're getting a 17 ml bottle there. This right here was $9.99, and it's 250 mils, okay? And honestly, guys, it seems like it's the same consistency. So I'm going to give this a whirl and see how she works. Liquitex Basics Matte Varnish. I haven't used it, but I'm going to try it out. I'm going to see what it does. So, and I'm thinking I pretty much covered everything, fellas, on this Panzer IV. You know, the Panzer IV, it was, I mean, it went into service at the beginning of the war and clear to the, I think they started building them in around 36, 37, and you know, when the war started all the way to the end of the war, it was their staple. It was the one tank that they used that they never gave up on. It wasn't the fastest. It didn't have the best armor, you know. It wasn't, but it was reliable. The work that they could do with this Panzer IV out in the field, it was easy to repair. You know, and as the years went by, got later into the war, they started adding them skirts and stuff on there. You know, they had the Panzer I, the Panzer II out. And they were more training. They were real light vehicles. And then they come out with that Panzer III. And when they come out with the Panzer III, its job basically, you know, was to to go into battle against other armored units, you know. And then, I don't know, when they got into Russia and stuff like that, and they come up against the T-34, they started thinking, wait a minute, we need that Panzer IV, because that Panzer IV, you know, they were building it with the skirts and everything. And them skirts, you know, they were like, they were Mark Steel design. And, you know, if a shell come and hit them, you know, it detonate a hollow charge there, and it would blow there before it ever made it into the hull. So, and they say it worked. So I think that's why they chose, after they started, you know, at the Russian front lines and all that, I think that's why they went ahead and started really using the Panzer IV too. And it had already proven itself. I know against the Shermans, the Sherman tanks, you know, for them to be successful, there would have to be like 5 Shermans to every 3 Panzers. You know, if it was even 4 and 4, the Shermans were in trouble. So, you know, they needed 25% more Shermans, okay, when they got into a big tank battle, just to defeat the Panzers. So, that's throughout history. They just know that's how that works. So, and, you know, and then it depended on the accuracy of your crew too, guys. You know, just firing that big gun, it depended on your accuracy. That played a big role in it. So, I don't know. It was a pretty neat little tank. But I believe that's about it, guys. I think I've talked about it enough. I gave a little bit of history on it there. You know, I do know that, like I said, the Panzer IV, it was designed in the beginning as an infantry support tank, but then, you know, the Panzer III, it was to engage the enemy armor units. That's how they worked it. It was fast and light, but when they went up against them bigger tanks, they found out that it didn't work real well. So that's when they started bringing in the Panzer IVs. But you know, and they had a pretty good sized motor in them too. They had that big 12-cylinder. I think it was a Maybach motor. And it was around, I don't know, 320 horsepower, something like that, 300 horsepower, I can't remember. But, and, you know, it was, I think its top road speed was like 42, 43 kilometers an hour. That's pretty quick for back then. And then the ground speed, I don't know, it was around 16, 18, I think they said, around that, something like that. So, and it held a, you know, it held a crew of 5. It held a crew of 5, which was it's kind of neat on this tank. When you get here and look at it, you know, you had some access points here, right here. This top access point, top hatch, that's where the radio operator was, but he also worked at MiG-34 right there. And a lot of these had 2 of them MiG-34s, one there and then one up by the gun. So, and then the driver naturally here was his hatch, and his job was to drive. And he sat right below that hatch, and he would drive. Okay, and then I don't have, here you go, I'll just bring it out here. I know that like in the turret section here, on this side right here, you know, you had another hatch, okay? And you had a hatch here, which was for the gunner, and then you had another hatch, guys, that was for the loader, and it would be over here on the other side. As you can see, there's a hatch there. So they all had their entry points, and then naturally up here at top, okay, that's where the commander was, always right here. I can't remember what you called them hatches where the commander sit. It was the cupola or something like that. I can't remember. But that's where the commander was, and he could shut that hatch down. And you can see on this tank here, though, I remember they had some side slots in here, so the commander could look out these side slots, and you don't see them. It wasn't built into this model. So that's a little bit on that. And I think I pretty much covered everything, guys. I'm pretty sure that's it. My next video is going to be the final, after I get her all painted and camoed up and everything done, and the figures in it, and that'll be video 4. So you just watch video 3. Basically, it just handled doing the primer on it, getting her all ready for paint. So the next video will be covered, you know, covering the final on it with the model done, completed. And I hope I don't butcher the paint job. You never know about me. I've did it before, so there's a possibility I can do it again. I hope not, but I'm looking forward to painting this. I think I'll probably get to that tomorrow sometime. And within, I don't know, about 3 or 4 days, I should be able to bring you the final out on this. So for now, I'm going to go ahead and sign out. And guys, thanks for watching. If you liked it, can you hit that like button for me? And then if you haven't subscribed to my channel, you'd like to do that, I'd appreciate that too. I think I'm still at like 98 subscribers. I need 2 more to hit that 100. And, you know, that's my goal, and I hope I can get it within a few days here. But I'm going to go ahead and sign off, guys. Video's been long enough. And I'll see you next time on the next video, the final on this Panzer IV tank by Monogram in 1/32 scale. So y'all have a good evening tonight. And God bless each and every one of you. And I'll see you the next time I'm on here. So take care. Bye-bye, guys.